Igniting the original Qi, first of the Xingyi health exercises. Find the soles of your feet, settle into the ground standing comfortably. Relax the soles of the feet, suspend from above as if there's a string dangling you from the ceiling so your spine can lengthen, your pelvis can drop, the back of your neck can be open. All the Tai Chi principles apply. Allowing the arms to rise to one side slightly. Allow them to rise, high as the shoulders but no higher, come across the front and drop down the other side. Relaxing down. It's an inhale as the arms come up and an exhale as they settle down. Inhale as they come up and exhale as they settle down. Igniting the original Qi, warming up the shoulder joint where the arm meets the shoulder, connecting the soles of the feet to the palms of the hands, the elbows to the knees, and the shoulders to the hips. Finding the internal connections, loosening up the joints so that energy, blood, lymph can all flow freely all the way through the body. Starting to work the body so that you can work the Qi. Coming up. Changing direction. Exhale on the down, inhale on the up. You can sink a bit in the legs and rise a bit in the legs if you'd like. Notice how the arms go slightly to the sides. Coming up. Feel it in your shoulder joint. Adjusting the circle as you need to see for your own arms. It could be this small, depending on how your arms are feeling today. Could be a very small circle, but it's never going to be bigger than the shoulders. It's never going to come any higher than the shoulders. If it come up to your chin, it's too high. And then your shoulders start to rise. Coming up on the inhale, sinking down on the exhale. Up on the inhale, down on the exhale. Up on the inhale, and down on the exhale. Number 1. Number 2, Jade Dragon weaves his tail. We're extending off to the side. Top hand is palm down, bottom hand is palm up at the full extension. Dragging the arms back and front, the palms face each other. Extending to the other side, top hand is palm down, bottom hand is palm up. Coming across. Turning over. Coming across. Turning over. You can get the ribs moving a little bit. Get the upper body moving a little bit. My hips are still, my feet are still, my knees are still. It's just my upper back. Like a dragon weaving its tail around a column. Back and forth. You can inhale to the center and exhale to the side. Starting to mobilize the ribs. You can add in a bit of a figure 8 feeling in the ribs if you want. Shoulder goes back a bit here. Left shoulder goes up and back. My right shoulder would be your left shoulder, the way it looks. Up and over. If I didn't use my arms, it would look like this. This is the kind of movement we're talking about a little bit here. It's a little figure 8 in the upper back. Jade Dragon weaves around the body. Number 2. And let that finish. Number 3, opening and closing soothes the meridians. One hand is resting here on the chest, just enough to tag down the muscles. This hand, the fingertips are closed up into the palm in a loose fist, and we start out very small. And if we can get bigger, we do. If we can't get bigger, we don't. Remember, this is all about learning what makes your shoulder feel better. Even if you are able to go to the full range on this one, notice how my body turns a bit with this. Notice how my waist is rotating a bit. I might even turn a little bit at the hips. right? This isn't just my arm making a circle. That would look like this. Even then I can't keep my body still. But the body starts to move a little bit with this as well. So again, we're starting to mobilize the upper body a bit. I'm also really working the shoulder girdle, as in the front of my chest and the shoulder blade area and the top of my shoulder here. Right? Again, I'm demonstrating full range of motion here, but if your shoulder says, yeah, I'm going to only do this today, that's perfect. So I've been going from the front to the back. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to start going to the back to the front here, changing the direction of my circle. Again, I'm going to start out small so I can figure out what feels good to me. And gradually, if that's okay, I might make the circle a bit bigger. Continually listening in for the points at which my shoulder says, ow, that's not good. Okay, I'm going to make the circle smaller here. I might also adjust the positioning of my fist, facing it with the back towards you, or I might change it so that the palm is towards you. It makes a little difference in my shoulder joint. Or I might keep it neutral. Again, if I'm working to the full extent of the range here, you'll notice that my upper body is getting involved. It's turning a little bit front to back, and it's tilting a little bit side to side. All of those are fine. And I'm just keeping this hand that's on my chest nice and loose so it can just kind of open up that tissue, that lymphatic drain there. And then I'm going to switch to the other side. Again, I'm keeping these fingertips closed up into a loose fist. This hand is nice and loose on my chest, and I start off with small circles. I'm also noticing my feet here. I'm trying to still keep connected palms of the hands to the soles of the feet. It's getting a little bit bigger here. Again, only if it's okay with my shoulder. Really, the main point of these exercises is to learn to recognize in the body what movements make it feel better and what movements make it feel worse. And if yesterday I could do this like this and today I can't, that's just normal. That's just how the body goes. If you wanted to add a breath in this, it would be inhale on the up and exhale on the down. You could also let momentum get involved a bit, let the arm really drop and swing. Again, if I do that, my upper body has to be nice and loose. It has to move with that movement. And I'm going to change the direction. I'm going to go from the front to the back here. And I can gradually work my way up a bit bigger, possibly. I can't emphasize enough, rather than copying what I do, because you're at home and practicing this on your own, really listen into your own body. You don't have to follow me. Just use me as a general guideline here. Do these exercises for longer than I'm doing them if you want, or shorter. And let that come to a standstill. Divide the north and south is the fourth one. I sometimes call it the standing still jumping jacks. Again, I want my feet maybe a little closer together for this one. Hands are going to come up above the head, clap, drop down by the sides of the body, clap behind the back. Up, behind the back. When I come down, I'll bend my knees. When I stand up, I'll press my belly out a bit. If you can't get your hands to clap behind your back, don't worry about it. Sometimes mine do, sometimes they don't. Just let them swing. Again, I could modify this movement to be smaller. I could even just let my arms swing a bit, front and back. Whatever your body needs, start to listen to it. Start to appreciate it, start to let it guide you in the movement. Good. Divide the north and south. The next one is called uphold the heavens and firm the root. We're going to reach up towards the ceiling, pressing up to the ceiling, extending out from the pelvis through the belly button, up through the chest to the top of the head with a slight lean back. I'm going to relax. I'm going to turn to one side and do the same thing. I'm slightly leaning back as I open up the front side of my body. I'm going to release that. I'm going to turn to the other side. Again, I'm going to reach up and bend back ever so slightly, really opening up the left side of my body in this case. Relaxing. I'm going to drop my hands down, and I'm going to dangle all the way down to the floor. Letting my head go, letting my neck go. I'm going to extend down to the floor. Dangling here for a moment. I'm going to reach out a little bit in front of me and turn to one side, kind of leaving my hips forward. Again, I want to feel the stretch on the side of my body. I want to feel this whole part of my body opening. I release. I go to the other side. Again, I feel the stretch through here. Come back to the front. Relax my hands. Notice I bend my knees. I drop my bum. And then I press myself upright. That gets me upright. Do that a few more times. The second part of this is stepping out in a medium with medium length bow stance. Really square in the front leg and nice and upright. My hands are extended. And I'm going to turn across that front leg from the bottom of my spine to the top of my spine. And then I'm going to release from the top of my spine to the middle of my spine, to the lower part of my spine, and back to neutral. I'm going to shift back with my weight to my back leg. I'm going to change my feet. So my back foot is at 45. My left foot, in this case, steps out for a forward bow stance, medium with medium length. I'm nice and square here. I'm not leaning. I'm not overextending. I'm very upright. I'm going to turn. I'm going to release. Come back. I'm going to turn sideways for this one just so you can see how upright I am. When I come forward, see how I'm nice and square and upright here. And as I turn, I keep that uprightness. I'm not leaning. I'm not reaching. I'm nice and upright here, so I get that nice turn on the spine. One more with the sideways view. Coming out. Nice and square. Turning. And coming back. Number 6, uphold the heavens. Number 6 is called empty the foot and lift. So this hand and this foot are going to go together. They're going to spiral and press to the ceiling. You'll notice my heel comes way off the ground. My hand gets way up there. This other hand presses down. I release. My weight comes to the center. My arms come to the center. My weight shifts. My heel comes up. And my hand presses to the ceiling. I release, changing. Goes up and extends. I'm also dropping my tailbone down. So when I finish this extension here, I'm releasing my tailbone, settling into this leg, lifting this leg up and pressing down. Everything comes to the center, weight and arms together. I coordinate hips and shoulders, elbows and knees, ankles and wrists, surprise, surprise. Release, crossing, shifting, and settling. One more. And release. Coming back to center. That one's a bit more of a narrow stance. This one we can step a bit wider. This is going to be turning the head. So remember, I'm going to keep my suspension quality here, and I'm going to gently turn my head to one side, only until I just barely feel a stretch. And then I'm going to release it, relaxing back to center. I'm going to turn it off to the other side. And back to center. I could inhale as I turn to the side, and I could exhale as I release to center. Working from the top of the shoulders to the top of the head. Work that upper part of the spine, the neck part of the spine, the cervical spine. I could let this movement go all the way down to the base of my spine if I wanted to as a variation, but I don't necessarily have to. Release back to center. Now I'm going to lift my chin towards the ceiling, extending it a bit forward so my head tilts back. And when I relax that, I'm going to lift up through the back of my head all the way to the ceiling so that my head tilts forward. Again, I'm lifting up through my chin, and I'm lifting up through the back of my head, relaxing the front of my head. Back and forth, keeping the lifting quality going the entire time. And release back to center. Coming forward and coming back to center. I'm going through these a little quicker than you might want to on your own, just to make the video a bit smaller. The next one is ape arms enliven the blood. So I'm going to take this hand, extend it forward. I'm going to lift the heel up on the same side. I'm going to point my fingertips up toward the ceiling, and I'm going to touch my palm. Now there's a bit of a implied or actual squeeze together here. I'm going to trace from the thumb to the pinky around the outside with my fingers, and I'm going to look away from my hand while I make that circle. Making that circle from the thumb to the index to the pinky, back down the bottom, tracing around the outside of the palm. Being careful not to bring this arm in too close. I want to leave my elbow open so that things move through there. I'm going to release everything. I might even draw my hands into my chest. That opens this chest back up again after it's been squeezed. Here I'm going to extend this hand forward, squeezing this hand in, lifting the heel on this side, and rolling as I look away from my hands. Again, you'll notice if I turn sideways, I don't have my elbows in here. They're very extended. My fingertips are up. Tracing the palm. Release, draw everything in. Again, pressing forward, squeezing. Think a bit of G here, as in the grasp the sparrow's tail G, or squeeze. Looking away, I'm tracing that palm. Release, drawing in. One last one, squeezing forward and tracing the palm. I'm going to turn sideways here for a minute. Notice how rounded my back is, right? How rounded my whole back is. That's that part of that squeeze. But when I release, that opens back up again. Ape arms enliven the blood. So, now that we've enlivened the blood, now that we've moved everything around, it's time to clear everything out. This is raise the back 7 times. So, remember, the important points are as we breathe in, we're going to go up. When we breathe out, the heels hit, and then we go down, as much as you're comfortable with. And the exhale sound is a ha, like a big cough. So we're coming up on the toes, ha, up, ha, up, ha, up, ha, up, ha, and one more, ha. It's raise the back 7 times. I generally do raise the backs 9 times. And you notice that your arms just kind of want to swing at the end of this. You're going to make a fist with the thumbs tucked between the index and the middle finger so they're out of the way. You're going to let the arms relax, come up and hit the shoulders. We're breaking up the last of the stagnations in the upper body. It helps to press the belly out a little bit as the arms come up. Keep the arms nice and relaxed. Good. The next one, pretty simple. We're going to work everything from here down, and then we're going to work everything from here up. So when I work everything from here down, this part is going to stay still. So I'm going to put my hands on my hips just for a reference. Everything above my hands is going to stay still. Everything below my hands is going to move. That means that my ankles, knees, hips, it's almost as if I had a BB in my pelvis and I was rolling it around. But you'll notice how my upper body, it's flexing a little, but it's not moving. Right? I'm separating my lower body from my upper body here. I'm going to go both directions with my hips. rolling around. Again, I'm not doing these as long as I would if I were teaching this, just to save space. You can practice one and then pause and practice the next. So there's the lower body. Now, everything above my hands is going to move. Everything below my hands is going to stay still. I possibly have the ability to do this fairly big, but I also have the ability to do this very small. So really try, the important part is to really try and separate the upper from the lower. You can even watch yourself and make sure you are. And if your movement is really, really small, even smaller, let's say, that's okay. Still, we want that. I'd rather see small movement than I would see this, because this is no separation at all. That's something else. We're trying to just articulate everything above the pelvis here. We're trying to let the shoulders be nice and loose. If you want to drop the hands, that's fine, but you'll notice hips don't move, knees don't move, ankles don't move. Both directions. Good. The next one is the wide stance. Again, I'm going to settle to this leg. I'm going to put my hand here just for reference maybe. You can see my thumb in the inguinal ligament area here, and as I fold into that inguinal ligament, it disappears, right? Without shifting my weight, I'm going to kind of push out with both my legs and allow my legs to open. I haven't moved the weight off of here. I've just opened up through the hips. I'm going to close through the hips. I'm going to open through the hips. I'm going to close through the hips. I'm going to shift to this leg very deliberately. Both of my feet are fairly straightforward. Maybe one is slightly turned out, but they're not both pointing to the corners. Here again, I'm going to fold into this leg. You'll see how my hand gets trapped there, and I'm going to open. I'm not folding this way. Right? I'm relaxing at the hip here, relaxing at this groin area here, and I'm turning into that leg, pointing my belly button across, and I'm releasing. I'm not pointing my belly button at my knee. I'm pointing my belly button straight across and releasing. Straight across and releasing. If you've got that down and it's really nice and easy, you can go a bit wider in this stance. You can think about opening up through the groin area down here, and I can turn into this. I can open, I can turn the waist, and I can extend the hands. I'm going to open at the hip, turn the waist, extend the hands, relax it all. But I really need to keep a big open space here in order to do this properly. If I shift to this side, same idea. I'm going to open at the hips, turn the waist, release the hands. Open, release. Open, release. Good. Walk your feet back into the center. Coming up. Getting close to the end here. Feet are together. Hands are going to be on your knees, so you're bent over slightly, and you're going to rotate. Notice my feet are rolling around on the ground. My knees are staying pretty much over my toes. They might be coming a little bit in front of my toes this way, but not very much. My ankles are rotating. Everything's nice and loose. If I turn sideways here, you can see a different view. Same thing happening. And then just to finish this off, I'm going to press up through my legs and up through this part of my back here, rounding this part of my back. And then I'm going to relax. I'm going to press up, thinking I'm pressing the spine to the ceiling. Relax. One more time, pressing up, opening up the kidneys. Relax. Here I'm going to drop the bum a bit and come up. Everybody's favorite. So, I'm going to put my weight on this leg. I'm going to rest this leg on heel. There's no weight on it. I can pick it up at any time. Even when I bend over to rub my knee, I don't have any weight on it if I can help it. All the weight's on this back leg. I'm rubbing the knee, and then I'm pressing this back leg into the ground to come up. You'll notice I'm facing the corner, not the camera now, right? When I come up, I'm really going to face the direction of this back supported leg rather than here, because then I have a bit of a twist. So now I'm going to touch my nose to my toes, the good old fancy, we think we could maybe do it someday. So you can take a moment here just to hang out, to relax. Relax the top of the head. See how I'm orienting to this back foot before I push myself up. I'm going to cross my arms, and I'm going to bend over, point my elbow at the toe, turn my ribs and point the other elbow. Back and forth a few times. Again, I'm going to orient this back leg and push myself up and take a break from that leg. Changing legs here. Weight's going to be on this leg. This leg is empty. At any point it could move. First thing I'm going to do is bend over and rub my knee. Front and back, side to side. Again, I'm going to orient to this leg, come up. Notice I'm facing the corner. When I go down, I'm going to end up facing forward. Try and touch my nose to my toes. I don't know. There we go. Nose to the toes. Give it a bit of a stretch through the leg. Again, I'm going to relax over to this leg. Come up, facing the corner. Turn. Cover the arms. And elbow to the toe. Turning the ribs. Coming back to this leg and pushing myself up. Bringing my feet together. 2 more to go. So my palms are facing towards my legs here. As I breathe in, they come up. They open, and at the end, they turn palm to the ceiling. And as I exhale, they come in front and finish turning palm down. Inhale as they open, finishing. Exhale as they close. Inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Last but not least, knees come up in front, body stays nice and relaxed. It's almost as if I could hug my knee to my chest. My bum stays nice and dropped. My feet are nice and loose. And the other variation is I can just reach behind with my heels, trying to kick myself in the bum. Good. Completion of the Xingyi health exercises, all 13 of them.